In 3, 2, 1, panels of judges, ladies and gentlemen. How about the sacrifice top-down people made? Isn't it can tell you the chronology of the history? We are going to talk about this house belief that history textbooks should focus on teaching bottom-up historiography rather than top-down historiography. And we, the opposite teams, strongly disagree with these motions. The government team said that the top-down historiography are unrelated to people and less understandable and less systematic, also principle satisfaction and validations. But top-down historiography is the presentations of what's really going on. While governments prioritize relatability, they ignore that in the post-war society, relatability is the double-edged sword, teaching children how the granular bottom-up history of how their neighbors become enemies is only served institutionalized trauma and separate tribal divisions for new generations. They also fail to remember that Macy's sometimes is directionless without the riverbanks. This is just trade making a conflict around people. If you want to move from history of conflict to the future of cooperations, we cannot afford to look down our differences. We must look up institutional unity. Let me be clear to you. This is not about history of the wound. If you focus on how specific groups harm on another, you institutionalize the role of victims and aggressor at community level, making it impossible for people to live side by side. The solution for this case is that textbook should provide a natural umbrella under which all citizens can gather regardless of what their ancestor did during the conflict. It creates a shared identity rather than a fragmented one. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Nida Hidayah and I'm here as the representative, the first speaker of my team. And the first speaker in my team will talk about this in unity and national point of view. And the second speaker will talk about this in student comfort point of view. And then the third speaker will talk and will do the rebuttal and also sums up our arguments. Ladies and gentlemen, my first point is that bottom-up historiography in post-conflict zones rises prioritizing the conflict, transforming a political war into a permanent social feud between neighbors. When textbooks focus on ordinary people, they inevitably highlight the internal fissures and failure of the community, who collaborated, who stayed silent, and who initiated the conflicts. Look at the Palestinian and Israel conflict and internal Palestinian politics. If the textbook focusing on how groups like Hamas and Fatah triggered internal strife and external retaliations, it makes children to see the lens of historical blame. What if the Hamas is their own family? This creates national horizontal hostility. Furthermore, sociological data indicates that post-conflict society is 4 times more likely to see a replace or into war within the first decades. Countries like Rwanda, post 1994, strategically utilize a unified nation narrative in education to emphasize ethnic labels in favor a singular Rwandan identity to prevent the localized bottom-up resentment from sparking new violence. Therefore, the bottom-up approach is self-defeating, and the top-down history is about providing the structural scaffold necessary to prevent the state collapsing back to civil war. This is lead to my second argument. My second argument, the top-down history pounds clear and systematic frameworks of the conflict resolution that is essential for civil education and shared national sacrifice. In a post-conflict society, micro-histories are often chaotic, contradictory, and emotionally volatile. In a classroom full of opposing side-by-side people, a curriculums focusing on victim and aggressor roles, narrative acts as a trigger and renewed hostility. In a top-down history, we emphasize the local shifts, constitutional reform, and the high-level sacrifice of national heroes. Validating this hero is crucial because it provides a common source of pride that everyone can relate to. Historical precedents, such as the post-independence curricula in Indonesia 1947 and 1968, demonstrate that prioritizing milestone events, that the role of central figures was instrumental in forging a singular national identity from a fragmented archipelago. By centering the proclamation and the founding father, the states create a shared heroic legacy that allows citizens to move past local, ethnic, or ideological conflicts. By focusing on systematic change and unifying change of the state and unifying figures of national sacrifice, we empower students to participate in a new legal order. We provide them to shared identity under a natural umbrella, ensuring that they no longer prisoners of the past personal grievance, but architect of the stable collective future. As the opposite team, we are proudly choose stability over chaos and future over the past. And we strongly disagree with the motions. Thank you.